welcome to probably one of the most strangest freaking predictions to date. This isn't your typical anime versus video game or comic book versus comic book type of fight. This is an actual mythology battle. Like, this is a battle of ancient gods, essentially. Well, more like ancient beings of the mythological world of both Greek and Chinese. So, unlike the other predictions where I had to go by a bunch of versus wiki pages in terms of like describing their feats and shite, I'm going to be telling you exactly what their tales are. So, for those who don't know what Hercules and son Wukong is, you probably are familiar with the Disney tale of Hercules, as well as the Marvel comic book, and the famous anime series that inspired it, Dragon Ball. Which makes sense, because both of them have unique abilities and both are strong, but those two things are not the kind of things of these two tales. For one, Hercules isn't as lighthearted as you might think. Hercules' tale was tragic as hell. Like, for one, it was about heroism, suffering at the loss of a sin committed because of a magic spell by a jealous wife to Zeus, and the seeking of redemption throughout 12 different labors. What are these 12 labors, you might ask? Well, allow me to read them to you. So, the 12 labors were taking down the Nemean lion, the Lernean hydra, the golden hind, which is a deer with gold horns and bronze hooves. And if you don't know what the hydra is, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, it's basically a serpent with 9 heads. And the Nemean lion was invincible. It brought devastation and fear to the town. Hercules was ordered to slay this lion, bring its skin back. Hercules was able to use the brute's strength to defeat the lion, well, technically, that's not true. He ended up using the lion as a plate of armor. And then he kills the hydra by cutting off his head, but to prevent the head from growing back. He had to cauterize the wound. Basically, cauterize the stump of the neck to prevent another head from growing. And that's how he was able to kill the hydra. Golden hind is a deer that had gold horns and bronze hooves. It was scared to Artemis, the goddess hunting animals, therefore Hercules would not kill it. Instead, Hercules hunted the deer for a year. Opportunity to shoot the deer to present an opportunity to shoot the deer to end itself. Took it on the photo home. Down Artemis, reason for apprehending the deer. But yeah, here's the thing. He basically killed the deer with the poison arrows. Which he... Now remember, the blood of the hydra is very venomous. So, he managed to dip his arrows in the hydra's blood, making them more potent and poisonous. So, he ended up gaining poison arrows out of that. The man-eating boar, known as the Eurymanthian boar. this boar is set. Because then the fifth challenge was very interesting. Hercules, how he cleans the stables for his fifth labor. He blew openings in the stables and gathered two main rivers, Alpheus and Peneus, and the rest of the stables and flushed out the waste. So yeah, he cleaned out the stables using the river. Now, the Stymphian birds, which were man-eating birds. So, he killed those things with the poison arrows. And I'm not gonna explain everything, like the whole lore behind it, but I'm just gonna explain the pinpoint details of what he did. The Cretan bull, which is basically a very powerful bull. He wrestled the bull to the ground. The mares of Diomedes. Oh yeah, the man-eating horses. So yeah, pretty much what happened was he managed to kill King Diomedes. He set King Diomedes to his death by the horses. He pretty much Diomedes trained the horses to eat flesh. So it was good. In response, Hercules threw the Diomedes to the horses, and the horses basically turned King Diomedes into their food. He beat the horses to calm them, and bring the horses back to Eurystheus. Now, this is the next one. Now, you might be familiar with the Amazons from DC Comics. These are not the same kind of Amazon warriors. Sure, they're the same. Here's the thing. The Amazonians are a group of female warriors. A clan of female warriors, I should say. In the Greek mythology, yes. But they're not, super powered like in the DC Comics. So, pretty much, she had to defeat the Amazons to get the belts of Hippolyta. So he got her belt, and then comes the 10th one. Obtain the cattle of Geryon, which these were, okay, so these next four essentially, actually these next three had to take him beyond Greece. So he basically cracked open brought the Mediterranean to the Atlantic, and he traveled to get the cattle of Geryon. He killed Geryon, which is ironically the grandson to Medusa. So he managed to get the cattle. And then comes the next one. So basically, the next two, he had to get the golden apples of Hesperides, which are Hera's apples. He eventually met up with a titan known as Atlas, and Atlas's job was to essentially hold the Earth in place. And literally, so what he did was ask Atlas to get the golden apples while he helped him hold the Earth in place, because Atlas knew where the golden apples were. So originally Atlas was going to leave Hercules to bear his burden, but Hercules, with his ingenuity, tricked Atlas into taking the thing back. Thus, he got the golden apples and completed the 11th labor. Now for the final 12th labor. These are pretty much where all of his feats come into play. Now he had to... This was the 12th and final labor. Was to capture the beast Cerberus. Cerberus was a three-headed dog that guarded the gates of Hades. So he enters the underworld. And Hades agrees to Hercules asking to take Cerberus, but under one condition. He only uses his bare hands. Basically his fists. No weapons or anything like that. So just his hands. He was able to do this, take it to the surface, and return Cerberus to the underworld. So what happened to Hercules after that? Well, Hercules built a funeral pyre and he set himself ablaze, and then Zeus is like, alright, you suffered enough, we're gonna make you a god. And that was that, and Hera finally ended up accepting Hercules as her stepson, regardless of many fucking things she has done to him. It even describes how yeah, basically some tales, I should probably mention, some tales of Hercules are spun a little bit. Which is why I'm only giving the pinpoints. Some say he died by putting on a shirt that had the blood of Hydra. Others say he was still cursed and he ended up building a funeral pyre. But all of them lead to him becoming a god, essentially. Now with the Hercules lore out of the way, let's begin and talk about son Wukong. Sun Wukong is the Chinese mythological being, the Monkey King. He's known as the Monkey King, and the Chinese novel Journey to the West was what inspired Dragon Ball, which you should probably know that. Happy to know about Sun Wukong, because I don't know if there's any documentaries that talk about Sun Wukong, but there's a fuck ton of documentaries that talk about Hercules. So, Sun Wukong was known to have incredible strength, being able to travel at high speed, cover 108 li lines in one lap. Knowing 72 transformations, which allowed him to transform into various animals and objects, which I should also point out, he's also immortal. He also knew various spells such as commanding the wind, conjuring protective circles against demons, and freezing humans, demons, and gods like with one word. So basically, there's a lot to talk about the Sun Wukong. Omniversal battlefield, that's what I need. This will help me quite a lot. Maybe there's one for Hercules. That should also help me. Hercules. Nope. That's fine though. I can use the Omniversal wiki page, battle wiki page. So yeah, Sun Wukong is the Chinese mythological creature. See, there, even says Son Goku as a Japanese pronunciation. But for the sake of the badness, this is a Chinese character. A Japanese one, like the whole Dragon Ball type of scenario. No, this isn't your standard Super Saiyan Goku and whatnot. So, Monkey King, characteristics, destructive ability, moon level, large planet level, solar system level. So I would say I'm not finding the right say Hercules is like mountain planet level. I guess. I don't know. Depiction, the original, and Buddhahood. So yeah, pretty much little statistics, plus travel speed, massively faster than light, omnipresent, Class C, Class 1, lifting, and irrelevant, just beyond protection of space-time. So yeah, I know, this prediction is a lot more different than the normal prediction video that I normally do. So, I had to read out what the 12 labors of Hercules were, because there's not really a versus page for Hercules. Otherwise, it just gives me the Disney one, and the Disney one is not even close to what the original tale is. So, he has a magic golden clasp rod, a phoenix feather cap, he has a he's got cloud stepping boots, he's got treasure bestowed upon Wukong by the Dragon King Ao Ming, the 72 beyond, 72 earthly transformations, body outside of body, limb multiplication. He can increase the number of his heads and arms, typically assuming 3-headed and 6-armed form. Body freezing spell, Bishiju, water avoidance charm. I'm going to say the English, Bihuyojo. Okay, you know what, just for the sake of my sanity and the fact that my Chinese pronunciation is a little rusty, we're going to say the English name. So he's got fire avoidance charm, he's got the lock breaking spell, he's got a protective circle, he's got fiery golden eyes. Yeah, he's pretty powerful. So, who wins? I would have to say Sun Wukong wins this. Now, you might be thinking, Storm, what about Hercules? He's a god. Yeah, well, Hercules didn't start off as a god. He started as a demigod. And the problem is, Hercules is... here's the key difference between the two tales of Journey to the West and the Tale of Hercules. One is a tale about the quest for immortality, while the other one is a tale of heroism, tragedy, and suffering, and redemption. And those are the two key differences between the two. So, I know that, so like I said, Sun Wukong wins, and I'm definitely going to enjoy this mythology battle, because I could go on nerding out about both these mythologies, but basically, I have seen a lot of mythology documentaries in my lifetime, and I love it. And I'm hardly alone on this. There's a lot of people out there that probably know who these two are. So, Sun Wukong will most likely kill Hercules, and some people also kind of describe this as the mythological Goku versus Superman, which is a little weird describing because Hercules is not really a Superman. He didn't come from another planet. So, why would you call it that? So, anyways, a lot of people might agree with me with this, that Sun Wukong would easily kill Hercules. Now, the big question remains, will this be live action, or will this be hand-drawn? Because those are the only two things I can think of. There's not really, like, 3D models of Sun Wukong. I mean, yes, there technically is 3D models of Sun Wukong, but there isn't really a 3D model of Hercules outside of, you know, the inaccurate depictions of him, like the Disney version and the Marvel Comics version. And there's not really any sprites. I mean, they could use, what was that monkey character from Marvel vs. Capcom? Monkey character, oh, Sansan. Yeah, but here's the problem. Sansan's a female character, not a male character. So, I mean, they could technically use the sprites of Sansan, but it'd be mistranslated. So, my biggest... the biggest thing that I could see this fight be, I could see this either in 3D, hand-drawn, well, actually, most likely hand-drawn or live action. If they do it in live action, oh boy. Hopefully they know how to get the effects of the transformations for Sun Wukong right, and hopefully they know what they're doing. Because this is beyond the normal territory that Death Battle usually does. And I'm glad that they're finally stepping out of the comfort zones of comic books, video games, animes, and movies, and actually going into something more mythological territory. I mean, sure, they technically featured some mythological characters, but they weren't the actual mythological beings. It was just it was just another version of them. Like, for example, Thor, the god of thunder, was in 3 death battles, but it was not the actual Norse Thor. It was not the mythology version of Thor. It was the Marvel Comics version of Thor. So, yeah. But anyways, that's just one fan's take on this. Let me know what you think of this fight in the comments. I'm actually excited for this. I'm definitely going to be looking forward to this battle. Also, again, apologies for the weird beginning. I had to restart the stream before anything else happened. Because a certain commenter kept mentioning a battle that already happened and kept driving me nuts with it, and I had no choice but to, ban him for disrupting the flow of the stream or whatever, but that's besides the point. Anyways, let me know what you thought of this particular matchup. I'm going to roll the credits, and I'll be back for a stream later. I don't know what I'll stream. I might stream Nick All-Star Brawl. I might stream Sheep Raider, which is another Looney Tunes game I have on my PC. I had a physical copy of it at one point, but I lost it, and I don't know where I put it. So, anyways, let me go roll those credits now. So, alright, let's try this again. Okay, there we go. So hopefully you enjoyed. Because this was rather the most strangest prediction I had to do. So, this was, like I said, this was one of the stranger predictions I had to do, because I never thought having to predict a mythological battle was going to be hard, but it turns out it is, because there's not really a whole lot of pages with feats that you can actually work with. But who knows, maybe Death Battle might be able to explain each of their feats in the fight, in the episode, so I'm actually looking forward to that. So hopefully we get to see that. So it's gonna be one long week before we actually see what they conjure up. Will it be hand-drawn? Will it be live action? Who knows? Maybe they might have released a teaser for it, so we'll see what happens. So till then, your Captain of the Hedge Fleet signing off. I'll see you in the next stream.